Hello, I'm Kurth Barker, and this is the third video in a series on spiritual protection for Christians. I am the author of books on satanic ritual abuse, and I have a book titled Psychic Development for Prosperity, Self-Defense, and Political Influence. To find out about my books or my other free videos, check out the website angelicdefenders.theshamecampaign.com. As I've pointed out in my two previous videos, satanic occultists use their knowledge of psychic power to attack people, and so Christians need to understand how psychic powers work, so that, as Christians, we can use our gifts of the Spirit to defend ourselves, to heal ourselves, and to better our own lives. So I am going to explain in simple terms how psychic powers work. I don't want to give a lecture on neurology, but in a generalized and simple way, I'm going to talk a little about how the brain works. The left hemisphere of the brain is associated with mental attributes such as language, math, reason, and logic. The right hemisphere of the brain is associated with emotional sensitivity, intuition, imagination, and aesthetics. As an infant, you did not have the ability to use language or logic, so your thinking was centered in the right hemisphere of the brain. As you learned more language and became more logical in your thinking, your consciousness shifted from your right hemisphere thinking to your left hemisphere thinking. So your adult conscious mind is more associated with the left hemisphere. The right brain thinking of your childhood has become subordinate to your conscious mind, so your right brain thinking is your subconscious mind. Now, in terms of the brain, there is a barrier between the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. This barrier has to do with a lack of wiring between the two hemispheres. There is a limited amount of wiring between the left and right hemispheres, which allows these two different modes of thinking to remain separate. So the conscious mind and the subconscious mind have a mental barrier between them. However, they are connected by the nervous system in the physical body. So your right brain thinking, which is home to your childlike subconscious mind, communicates with your left brain, adult conscious mind, through the nervous system of your physical body. So your physical body is what connects the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. When you consciously pay attention to the feelings that you have in your physical body, you are receiving information from your subconscious mind. And when you consciously pay attention to your physical actions, you are sending information to your subconscious mind. Your conscious mind thinks with words, and your subconscious mind thinks with emotional, mental images. Your dreams come from your subconscious mind. So when you consciously visualize something in your mind, you are sending a message to your subconscious mind. Now, all of this is important because the key to using your psychic abilities, which are your gifts of the Spirit, is in learning how to consciously communicate with your own subconscious. As the Christian psychic healer Edgar Cayce once pointed out, the subconscious mind is the doorway to the superconscious mind. The superconscious mind is the source of your psychic abilities. The superconscious mind is the mind of your soul. It is the mind of your immortal spiritual body. It is the mind that you think with in heaven. It is superconscious because it transcends the limited knowledge of the logic-based conscious mind. A Christian philosopher, Hegel, wrote of the universal mind. I'm not going to go into his philosophy except to use the term universal mind. I define the universal mind as the mind of God. God is all-loving, all-knowing, all-powerful, and present everywhere. But God created us to have free will. So we must choose the goodness of God of our own free will. And we must choose to have access to the wisdom of God of our own free will. The superconscious mind has access to the knowledge of the universal mind. The subconscious mind more easily connects with and communicates with the superconscious mind. The feelings that you have in your physical body arise from your subconscious mind. When you consciously pay attention to the feelings in your body, your conscious mind is receiving information from your subconscious mind. This is why faith in God is a feeling. Faith comes from the universal mind through the superconscious mind to the subconscious mind, and you feel faith in your body as a positive physical sensation. When I am in church praising God with my physical gestures and spoken words, I physically feel faith in my body as a positive physical sensation. So know this: psychic ability is a mind-body discipline. It is not a purely mental activity. It is a combination of mental activities and physical sensitivity as well as physical actions. You must express your faith in God through your spoken words and physical actions. Faith is not just an idea you hold in your mind. In the book of James, it's written, "So the body without spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also." And this applies not just to doing good deeds such as feeding the hungry. Physical sensitivity and physical actions are necessary to the expression of your gifts of the Spirit. All expressions of faith in prayer require a physical expression as well. True Christianity is not about denying the flesh or the mortification of the flesh. It's about dedicating the flesh to the service and celebration of God. Satanic occultists understand that the key to using their psychic powers is in using their mind-body connection. This is why they use sex rituals and animal sacrifice in their practices. They physically tear up copies of the Bible and chant verses from the Bible backwards. A Satanist connects his mind to the global mind of Satan through a demonic mind which possesses him on a subconscious level. This is the essence of satanic occultism. This demonic personality obsesses on feelings of fear, anger, hatred, lust, and greed. Through a non-local psychic connection, the occultist can direct these negative emotions at you. When under psychic attack, you may feel these negative psychic energies in your body as feelings of despair, depression, and discomfort. You can protect yourself from an occult psychic attack through a combination of prayer or Bible quotes, along with visualization and physical gestures. So I am going to follow this quote from the book of Ephesians with a combination of physical gestures and visualizations as a way of communicating consciously with my subconscious mind so as to evoke the cooperation of my superconscious mind and the divine universal mind. Quote, "Finally, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in heavenly realms. Therefore put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground, and after you have done everything, to stand. Stand firm then, with the belt of truth buckled around your waist, with the breastplate of righteousness in place, and with your feet fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. In addition to all this, take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one. Take the helmet of salvation and the sword of Spirit, which is the word of God, and pray in the Spirit on all occasions with all kinds of prayers and requests. With this in mind, be alert and always keep on praying for all the Lord's people." Unquote. So now I'm going to use a combination of gestures and visualization to act out what is described in the Bible quote. And remember, when you visualize, it's a good idea to close your eyes as you visualize, because that invites imagination. So now I physically buckle the belt of truth around my waist. Now I put on the breastplate of righteousness. I fit my feet with readiness as if I were putting on some combat boots. I take up the shield of faith. I put on the helmet of salvation. And I take up the sword of the Spirit. So in using this combination of physical gestures and visualization, you can evoke the gifts of the Spirit that God wants you to have so that you can defend yourself from satanic occultists. Remember, when you visualize, close your eyes, because to do so invites imagination. Now, finally, I want to end this video with a visualization and a physically acting out that turns the tables on the satanic occultists who have been attacking humanity. With this, you can use your gifts of the Spirit to defeat the satanic and demonic creatures who possess and control the harmful occultists. It's important to not use your gifts of the Spirit to harm any other human being. Christ commands that we love our enemies. So it's important to remember that you are only visualizing the destruction of demonic creatures with their global system of evil, and that you are not visualizing or intending harm for any human being. We want to liberate the Satanists from their spiritual bondage to Satan, not to harm them. We only want to attack the demons that possess them. To do so will rob the satanic occultists of their psychic powers. So first I'm going to quote from the book of Revelations. Quote, "Now war arose in heaven. Michael and his angels fighting against the dragon. And the dragon and his angels fought back, but he was defeated, and there was no longer any place for them in heaven. And the great dragon was thrown down, that ancient serpent who is called the devil and Satan, the deceiver of the whole world. He was thrown down to the earth, and his angels were thrown down with him. And I heard a loud voice in heaven saying, 'Now the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ have come. For the accuser of our brothers has been thrown down, who accuses them day and night before our God. And they have conquered him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony.'" Unquote. So now I'm going to use a combination of physical gestures and visualization to bring this into all levels of consciousness. When you visualize, I want you to imagine that you are like the angel Michael, and you are in the heavens with the other angels fighting against the evil dragon and his demonic followers. Hold the Bible up as if it were a shield. Hold your hand as if you held the sword of the Spirit. Visualize Satan as a hideous dragon, an ugly but intelligent reptile creature. Physically strike him down with the sword of Spirit. Physically strike down his reptilian demonic followers with their bat-like wings, again and again and again. Put feeling in this. Now in the mind's eyes, visualize Satan and his reptile demon followers thrown down to earth in defeat. Now raise your sword in victory and smile in triumph. Now, if all of this seems silly, remember that when you were a child, you played silly games, and your subconscious mind responds to play acting. And that's what you're doing in evoking your psychic powers, which are your gifts of the Spirit. You need to include your subconscious mind in your prayer process. The more times you do visualizations like this, the more powerful they become. And the more people who do such visualizations, the more powerful is their force to create change in the world. If you are interested in my books or my free videos, check out the website angelicdefenders.theshamecampaign.com. Again, that's angelicdefenders.theshamecampaign.com. Thank you for watching my video, and may God bless all of you.